All right, so I recovered from the fight, and Debbie became my friend and my protector. Hung out with Debbie quite a bit, as much as you could. She had a lot of big brothers around that had cars, so sometimes, she could pick me up and do things. And I think we shared babysitting at one point. Not real sure, but all I know is that she was my protector, and I sat real close to her all many times as I could find her in the lunchroom or through the years. We all made better, not better, but other friends. But Debbie was always that was a special person, just my angel. One of my first angels, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about the personal stuff. Ew. So my stepfather and my mom seemed to be happy. He was a truck driver, and he went over the road and drove the great big, 53 footers and had a great job and brought money home. And he worked for Swanson TV Dinners. The only reason I remember that, well, probably wasn't Swanson, but he always brought TV dinners that fell off the truck. Not, look, he's gone. The company's probably gone. All I know is that our freezer was full of nice turkey, meatloaf, and coming from eating out of a can kind of because my mom was working so much, or Kraft macaroni and cheese or whatever it was. And then all of a sudden having TV dinners. Like, we were allowed to have as many as we want. Holy mackerel, man, that nice little, tiny little muffin in there, cranberry muffin or whatever. It's all about food for me. I told you that from the beginning, gammy dinner. And so, anyhow, so that was good. And then my mom found a job, and the job was kind of far away. She had to drive, and then that kind of changed the dynamic. I think she was happy to be kind of home and not have to worry. Like, her two sisters didn't have to work. I think my mom always kind of secretly wanted that kind of life, but it just wasn't in the cards for her. So it changed. And now, my role as being like the, babysitter, housekeeper, helper, cook, police caller, mom's rescuer, whatever, started to shift. She didn't need me anymore. She didn't need me anymore. Let me say that one more time. My mom didn't need me anymore, so there was no reason for me to be a hero for her. And that kind of left me like, well, I can't see my dad. I can't see my gram. I'm not in Garfield, and mom doesn't need me. It was like, whoa, Matrix. Like, where am I? Am I hooked up to a machine? Or, like my head was, whoa, what am I? Okay, didn't know who I was. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I would do this. But my stepdad was in charge, and he was a former, I'm not going to say Marine, but maybe Marine. No, he was in military, and our house all of a sudden became, he thought he was saving us, and it became like a military zone. Like, we had to get up at a certain time. We had to do this at a certain time. I can remember getting up so early and cleaning my room and then hiding in my closet so he wouldn't see me doing nothing until it was time to get on the bus. Like, he'd have us up at like 5. Like, and I get it. He didn't have a family. He didn't know how to do it. But it was rigid. I went from this crazy, chaotic life of, living like hand to mouth, trying to get out of crises all the time and cope with crises, to this rigid, strict kind of like, what? Do my homework? I am going to do my homework. I got straight A's when I was in Garfield. What? I mean, he tried to sit on us while my mom was at work, and it got old. And, the nice guy that took us to the ice capades, he sort of wasn't showing his hand anymore. And it was just really a hard time for me emotionally. So I felt pushed out. And so, at that age, everybody changed to their friends. So, I hung out with Debbie, and I made a note about it. But I'm not real sure, even my notes, even now, I'm not real sure what I was feeling back then. I did a lot of coping. I did a lot of acting out on the school bus because it was a long ride. So, it was always like loud, and like the bus driver got mad at me. And, I was acting out, I guess they would say nowadays. I just didn't know where I landed. I didn't land on anything. I was kind of like here, there, trying not to get in fights at school, trying not to, talk to the wrong people, talk to the right people, and I tried to make friends with the good kids, like the really good kids, like from Upper Freehold Township and stuff. They were like, we were all thrown in. There was all different areas thrown into the school, and those were the kids that came from like maybe the better homes. Maybe that's not fair, but I tried, but there was no way we could get together because they were like, if I was 3 miles from the center of New Egypt, they were like 20 miles away up on the other side. I mean, there's different high schools there now, so that dynamic probably doesn't happen. But yeah, it was a tough time. Okay, I'm not going to keep dwelling on that. I'm just going to weave that in. Um, Needless to say, more crazy is coming from the high school stuff and the mom stuff. And yeah, it doesn't get easier. But guess what? I made it. I hear. I'm a baby. Gotta love me. All right, guys, more later. I'm trying to keep these short, but they keep getting longer. I can't shut up.